Last night I dreamed that I was walking around a neighborhood at night and I was looking for a train station. And at one point, for some reason, I was under the impression that maybe the entrance to the train station could be reached through someone's home. So I walked into their backyard and entered their home through the screen door on their back porch and walked into their kitchen. It was at that point I realized, okay, well, I'm not going to get to this train station through here. And thankfully I didn't run into the owners of the home. So I walked back out, continued to stroll through this neighborhood, and eventually I found the train station. Just a few employees there. I didn't have a ticket, I just boarded the train. Took my seat, and then after the train had begun to move, I moved to a different car. And this car, it was tall, it was very high, and it was filled with stuffed animals. There were just multiple tiers of stuffed animals, and I climbed a metal ladder to the very top tier of this box car filled with stuffed animals, and I was looking out over the edge of the top of the box car. It wasn't sealed on top, and I was just watching the beautiful countryside go by. There was a deep ravine with some beautiful foliage in it beneath us. And at this point I ran into a guy. We seemed to be employees of some company that was either manufactured these stuffed animals or was conducting some kind of experiment with these stuffed animals, or who knows, some criminal group that was planning on smuggling things through the use of these stuffed animals. But anyway, this gentleman that I encountered, he seemed to be a co-worker of mine. We both had the same objective, whatever it was. We struck up a conversation. Now, the funny thing about this guy is he looked exactly like Neil deGrasse Tyson. But he sounded like Red Fox. Neil deGrasse Tyson with Red Fox's voice. We got along pretty well. I don't remember what we talked about, though. Just remember looking out over the edge of the top of this boxcar and just admiring the countryside as we're rolling along here at night. It was a beautiful night, hardly a cloud in the sky, very starry sky, and then just talking with this guy and looking down at all of the stuffed animals in this really tall boxcar. The boxcar was so high, I don't understand how we could have gone underneath any kind of bridge or into any tunnel without the whole train being derailed because of how high this thing was. But anyways, the following day I was sitting in the living room of my house. I was sitting on the couch in my living room, and this guy decided to pay a visit. Neil deGrasse Tyson with Red Fox's voice, and he brought his wife along with him. And his wife's in a hospital gown. She's pregnant. I mean, very pregnant. Looks like she's 9 months. And sure enough, after he and his wife sit down, and I put a couple of cups of coffee in front of them, and we begin talking, he confirms my suspicion. He says, yeah, she's about to drop at any time. Or rather, he said it like Red Fox. Yeah, she's about to drop at any time, And then she went into labor. Just a few seconds after he confirmed this, she stood up, went into labor. He seemed grossed out by the fact that this was happening, like he had a phobia of pregnant women, which I guess Red Fox did. I saw Pat Morita, who was a good friend of Red Fox, say that in a videotaped interview one time. So he took a few steps back, my co-worker, and he had this disgusted look on his face. But he insisted that I call no hospital, no doctors, didn't want any medical assistance for the birth. He wanted a natural birth, and so did his wife. His wife said, yeah, just let me do this, and she she was standing up, and she just grabbed the top of this folding chair that she'd been sitting in, and yeah, she gave birth right there in my living room, dropped her child on the carpet. And here's the really, 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 really weird part. The child, first of all, there was no blood. It didn't appear to be a painful endeavor for her. There's no blood, there's no umbilical cord, no amniotic fluid. Just a child dropped out of her, and the child was clothed. Was wearing neon green shorts and a tank top. It was a girl, and the girl already appeared to be about 8 years old. Anyways, the father picked her up, and she was alive but asleep, kind of curled up, and placed her on a bed in a guest bedroom in my home, even though my actual home doesn't have a guest bedroom. It's not a very large home. I mean, there's 3 bedrooms in this house, but they're all occupied. Anyways, yeah, I just remember looking at his kid asleep there on that bed, thinking, how did this happen? And I walked back into the living room, and at this point, my cat Lyle's in on the act. And again, my coworker looks disgusted because he doesn't want to watch a second birth. But my cat Lyle is up on his hind quarters, and he's kind of doing these motions, and yeah, we're all thinking that he's going to give birth too, but he's a he. He shouldn't be able to do that. And he couldn't. It was like he wanted to, after having observed my coworker's wife do this, but yeah, he couldn't do it, and I think we were amused by this, or just weirded out. I don't know.